there are two related issues that I wanted to cover sort of in this session, and I actually am not the expert on these. I just know that they suck. One of them is that we have no way to tell when the controller is up. Like, we just don't. And everybody wants that. and so like literally like, you know, ways of telling it's up are like wait until the CPU utilization drops below 20%. That's actually been the most reliable one for me. But there's sort of a bunch of stupid things there. And the second one that I would want to talk about was, the thing I want to talk about today was sort of, as far as I can tell, there are no applications in OpenDaylight written to shut down. It's just not something, I mean, and that's maybe fine. But in the long run, you probably do want graceful shutdown. If for no other reason than if you want to like get the controller in a consistent state to take like, you know, backups or, you know, do an upgrade or things like that. So those are the two things I wanted to talk about. And I guess I can go through that. But so how do we know when the controller is up? And basically, you know, can we get graceful shutdown? So how many people know that there is, and I don't know, is this true in the blueprint stuff? In the config subsystem, there was a shutdown command, right? Is there one in the blueprint? Where's Tom? I need Tom P. Yeah. So how many people have written a shutdown method in anything they've written in OpenDaylight? It's not me. So this is what I was talking about. So okay. Basically, we just need to ask people to do it. Yeah. And I mean, how do you test it? What's a good shutdown method? How do you know if it's right or wrong? Are we terrifying you right now? Yes. There's anything like so anyway, so I don't know about this. So this is one thing, and apparently I guess we just need to have somebody actually explain how it is that we're supposed to do graceful shutdown in OSGI, because we just haven't. And I don't know. I mean, so far it works, right? I mean, like, why would you want to shut it down? That's sort of the. So this, I think that part is more. I mean, I don't know. Does anybody? I mean, so you've done it. Has anybody else done graceful shutdown in OSGI? Okay. Because, okay, I haven't. I have no idea how it works. I mean, I know the concept. I just don't know, like, I mean, like class destructors are actually hard to write. Like, you have to understand exactly what you need to clean up. Like, what's the expectation? It sounds like we just need, we need sort of like some help and presentations on this. So yeah, that was the, so that seems, is there anything, I mean, and I guess there's also, this is probably about it on that one. And then there are other things that people, I mean, there's other things. So it would be good if the controller shut down cleanly and basically, and the real, I think it's what are the key goals? I think the key goal is basically get a consistent state so that you can do things like upgrades. I don't know why else do you shut down cleanly? You're like, I don't even understand the question. I mean, like what's the matter with just crashing?
Just having it die?
Yeah.
That's not the model we follow. We want every application functioning at its own life cycle. That's OSGI, and in features, we like those that have its own application life cycle as well.
But no, but that's a different. But like, why? Like, this is my. Yeah, I mean, like, so.
So if you shut down just kill JVM.
Yeah.
Like that level, you can have inconsistencies inside the data cache for OSGI or runtime, which just
But if you just do like Fair enough. I mean, what about like, I mean, and I guess what most people I think do is they just do like a control D at the carafe shell or a shutdown, system shutdown. And like, and that will clean up at least carafe. And then sort of as long as our stuff doesn't, have inconsistencies in its data store, it's probably fine. And I think that's pretty much where we are. And so I think it's really, so I guess this is really it. I guess we should, so I guess, also so that when you come back up, things are okay. I think that's really the key point, is you want to try and sort of, like, okay. I think the action item here is sort of that some subset of us need to actually talk to people about what they need to do, and then maybe make this an action item to track in Carbon, which is like, does your feature shut down properly? As a question. Is there any? Yeah, well, I mean, Jamie answered there's PAX exam ways to basically do a test of the on shutdown. I think the harder problem, which is really what I was getting at, was semantically, what do you check for? Like.
Automatically within the code, you approve the shutdown your feature, or you decide when you run your.
No, I mean, so like after shutdown is completed, what do you check to see if it's true or not? No, I'm asking like mechanically what we would do. My intuition is that like you want to check something, like make sure that like
You're looking for the bucket state. Is it is installed state from being active? Now is it gone to just install the resolved state? If you're looking for a service, you're going to take a look at the service registry. So if you register your API with your service registry entry, is it still there? So if you uninstall your service, you'll say, is service foo.bar still there? If it's not, then you know it's actually uninstalled.
Okay. Cool. Anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, one of the issues that I was facing, and actually looking at bug into it, was that if one of the features is not correctly if it's not shut down correctly, then the two completely independent features which are dependent on that one, when they're installed in a particular order, they're not installed, they're crashing, or giving exception.
We fixed that in Craft 4. That was enough issues with features. So what ended up happening in Craft 3 was that an uninstalled feature was a completely unwinding all of the code dependent buckets. So if you had a bundle being used by other features, sometimes they rip that out and somebody else is using it, so it caused problems. That was the Craft 3 experiencing. In Craft 4, we went back to the features resolver, and all the mechanisms for code running. So now when you do an uninstalled feature, you have the option to first do a test run, which will go through, say, simulate uninstalling feature 2, and then we'll see if there's going to be any complications. And then if you do, okay, if there's no complications on the command line, then you could actually do uninstall 2, and we'll remove that and go down through all these third-party dependencies, the tertiary dependencies, all the way down. It's much better, and that's why we keep saying upgrade to Craft 4, because we fixed that problem.
So the question was basically, if you're talking about startup and shutdown and you're trying to uninstall features, that basically there appears to be bugs in carafe that basically cause, I think in carafe 3, to basically occasionally ripping out features from underneath other features. That's apparently fixed in carafe 4, and we just need to do a carafe 4 upgrade as part of Carbon. That's probably the answer. So is there anything else you wanted to add on sort of shutdown? I think startup is actually harder. How to tell when you're up.
Are there different levels of up for different components?
Let's start with no. We don't have run levels is the answer. We have one run level. Sorry, let me change that. So carafe, so almost all systems have like a notion of run levels, which is sort of, they're basically just like, you bring a certain set of things up and then you bring another certain set of things up. And so that way you can sort of just to figure out how up the controller is. Carafe supports it. We don't use it, we use a single run level for everything. And basically we just let feature dependency resolution figure out when you should install what. So to do the ordering. And the intuitive reason why you didn't use run levels is because if you use run levels incorrectly, they're a secondary way of specifying of ordering, and you can really shoot yourself in the foot. Right? We ran into lots of problems where basically people would set a run level to something below somebody that, or above somebody that depended on you, and so like then bad things would happen. So really so I think really the question is sort of what is up, and this is sort of all expected bundles features are up, and then there's another thing which is like ready. And so far, every single, and Jamie, maybe you can use this, every single system I've ever looked at that actually deals with getting a system into like the running state invents like a new level, a new lifecycle state on top of OSGI, which is like ready or like really up, as opposed to like, is there a reason why OSGI just doesn't have like an application ready state that you can toggle into? Can you modify the state machine?
Yeah, so inside your blueprint or inside the bundle, depending on how you implement it, in the bundle level, you can implement the start method, and that's where you can initialize and set up your services. And at the end of the start, then it will tell OSGI that I'm actually ready and running. In the blueprint, you would do the init start, or you put the init method, and then have to run the same kind of code, including linking it to your code inside of some bundle, saying, once this is finished running and setting up all of my database connections, getting my binding to a port, etc., then at the end of that start, it'll say, okay, now this blueprint is actually running. So you want to be sit your init and set your store methods to your blueprints and have your start and stop if you're going to implement your bundle without blueprint.
It seems like the blueprint now is easier to do this thing than before with the config system, and it was more complicated.
I mean, well, yes, maybe. I mean, I think it's pretty much the same, but I mean, I think we need to, this is another best practice thing, which is like, I think lots of our code basically launches 10 threads and then returns. In which case, like, and sometime in the future, those 10 threads will have done enough to call this up. But when exactly is sort of up for debate. And so figuring out how to send a signal back, sort of say, I'm actually up. And there's also this issue of, like, it's not clear to me, and is that blocking? Can you run multiple methods at the same time? Do you know?
So you have your one init in the blueprint, but in that method, if you're linking to the init call, if you put in there saying create a thread pool and gotta wait for 5 minutes for it to come up,
Yeah.
somewhere in that code, just make that
Just wait. So that makes sense. No, I was actually going to. I was actually a slightly different question, which is like, how do you resolve, like, so can you have two different init methods on two different bundles running at the same time? Okay, and so they can you can have somebody you can effectively wait on a service being advertised as part of your init. Okay.
whiteboard pattern or just your search trackers, or different methodologies you follow.
So there's there's other problem, sort of like, what are we expecting to come up? And this is like, can we enumerate all the bundles or features we're expecting to come up? And this is actually harder than this is really the crux of the issue, which is like you need
You need to go from what we've got, which is really flexible per feature, kind of a la carte that people put together, actually the distribution that they have. And you need to go into almost like additions or what have you, where each addition has a fixed number of features, and unless you know what they are, you cannot say and declare the system ready. Or, I don't know, maybe it's an external metadata or something like that that needs to be done. But, the flexibility goes away to choose your features and install your features as you want.
Yeah, no, well, but I mean, at the end of the day, basically, so what Jan just said is exactly right, which is you can't in the fully general way, right? Because like there are things somebody could do at the Carafe CLI which could cause you to install all features, in which case you will never be up until somebody installs everything, and you don't want that. And you also and at the same time, you need to have some things there to know how long to wait, and so you need to basically have a second source of truth, which is like, what am I expecting to come up? And now it's possible that you could do some of this automatically, which is of the set of features, like features can be mapped to bundles, and you can say, I expected the following features. Like, you know which features you're going to load, right? Like, assuming they don't type anything. But you need some way to basically describe the set of things you expect to come up, and then actually sort of query them in the way, sort of the first bullet point, sort of to get there. So you need to list them. I think listing them out of band. Actually, one thing I was just thinking about is like, run the controller, install all the features that you want, save that, and make that part of for the next time, right? That was what up was defined as for this. The only issue is that then you have to make sure that stays up to date with the code if you change it. But how do you know what you're expecting to come up?
Because there's a blueprint file.
But how do you know which blueprint files you're expecting to be installed?
You can scan those from Resolve bundles.
But you're not going to install all of them.
Huh?
You're not going to install all of them.
You'll know all the ones, all the bundles that are installed. You can scan the Resolve bundles.
Right, but not all of them are going to be active, or not all of them are going to be
Oh, they will. They will go. Well, yeah, they should go active.
Well, no, but so the question is like, how do you tell that like when I run control, like so when I'm running test A, I need the OpenFlow plugin at OVSDB to come up. But I'm running test B, I don't need either of those to come up. I just need netconf to come up, and understand that those two different.
Okay. If you use
What?
Blueprint advertises one simple way the container as a service with the bundle name. So if you had a component that listens and for those services, it could say, you could query it and say, I want to know when OVSDB is. Bundle has the blueprint container has started.
But that doesn't. So the question is, like, how do I know when the whole controller is up? That's the question.
Probably when if all your blueprint containers have started, is that?
But presumably they're going to be blueprint containers that aren't started intentionally, right?
If they have a blueprint XML file, they're going to start. It's going to process.
I don't understand the point you're making. So we have features, right?
Yes.
What's the scenario of having features that are installed but not up? I don't see that scenario.
Oh, because so first of all, how do you tell when so features installed but not up usually has to do with application level processing, which is to say the feature resolved and is installed, but it is still doing things and is not yet ready to service requests.
So you need it. It's a feature you want.
Yes.
And so Colin and Network, we use the URL, the Network provides when it's ready.
Yeah, I know, but but that's probably the wrong. I mean, maybe that's the right pattern. I don't know. I mean, like today that's the pattern people use, which is like when everything is ready, they have a special Yang model for their module, which they basically write a field into that says I'm ready, and basically they then when you want to test if you're up, you write a for loop that goes and queries that every second.
That's not a bad solution, and they want to mandate that.
And so that's, I mean, so is that, I mean, and my question is that the wrong solution?
Do this automatically, right? And I'm saying blueprint, right? Correct me so if a bundle's resolved, it's going to go active.
No, resolve is its own state. You have to go from resolve to activate.
Yeah, but it's going to activate it. Once it gets to resolve state, it's going to activate
It's going, if it resolves blueprint.
If it resolves. So if you scan every resolve bundle, count the number of blueprint XML files, and you know how many you will
What
get.
this would do is kind of altering the kernel state, which is Java related or API related to the external state of the system, which we may or may want to define the same way. I don't know. Because the app, even though the blueprint is up, the app still may not be up because it hasn't read the database, it hasn't reconciled,
Well, what's up for an app?
where it's accepting.
But could you assume that once the blueprint container starts and initializes, and we called, yeah, go ahead.
Once we get to graph 4, it's a little more complexer because features have its own life cycle to activate for. So you can do feature install empty sal, and then you say start or stop. So you can say stop, and the empty sal is still installed, still resolved, but it's stopped. There's no activity there. And then you say start, it will restart all the bundles in that feature. So it's going to be more or less look at your feature list, say what's installed, what's active, and then what you're going to want to do. If you don't have the command yet, what you want to do is go to graph or ODL, whichever side, and then
y-
We're up. Basically, this thing that we're saying
yeah.
before that apparently bundles through the video, you said the network is
I mean, so that there's the way
shared infrastructure.
when we've talked about this.
Archetype actually, so that people know they have to plug it. Because we've got, the archetype is actually pretty good,
What we've done.
It is the rails on which you do as a new developer when you start developing the application. All the skeleton is there, for the blueprint, for everything else. So the skeleton for all these APIs will be put in the archetype. And the existing apps are all water under the bridge, and they would have to be retrofitted. But at least for the new apps, you would get a way how to kind of put the developer in the right way.
But we do want to have a central API for this, right?
I mean, so. When we talked about this in the past, we talked about basically having something like an up service, where basically you just have a string which you register as up somewhere. So there's a list of strings that are up, and you basically just make a.
You can actually define the states, all the states,
Sure.
externally visible states. So it's booting, it's up, it's
Sure.
Ready, it's
How about
shutting
just-
down, whatever, So
I mean,
you give that
How about just string status?
yeah, I mean, like that's.
Whatever you like there.
Yeah, yeah.
Boolean, and constants.
everybody's going to be doing that. You need to be consistent and kind of
But-
operators show.
Are operators
You
interested in
need to have the same meaning for the same strings for different operations, and that cannot be guaranteed unless that's a very fixed set of strings.
Does a typical operator need more than Boolean ring? And each
I
one is
would say, well, it's nice seeing like maybe do something on the web like you build program on, right? So stuff like that. Because the binary thing is useful in the first thing, but knowing that the app is actually doing something, getting ready, and all that stuff that is for somebody who has just rebooted a system, there is an outage going on. I mean,
So it's like Boolean ready plus string current status?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's two different. There's two different goals, right? One of them is that you want a machine interpretable data point, which lets you make the Boolean query: are we running? Have we finished booting? And you have a second thing, which is the human readable: why not? or how well?
Yeah, everything should be on. Users don't get empty on users on the bundle level. What can we do with them? Quite a lot. We can use them internally. Get everything you see then into the list command or a feature list command. That's all cleaned up from
So the issue. No. So there's two issues. One of them is, how do you figure out what bundles are installed, active, whatever? And that's pretty straightforward, with the exception that basically there's no application level upness that's being tracked. So you need to add some extra bit, which is like the application is ready, not just the bundle, but the application. So that's one nugget of pain, which is what you just talked about, which is you need like some kind of bit that says I'm up. The second nugget is, what do I expect to be up? So when I go ask, what is everything that is loaded? How do I know if it's complete or not? And that's the harder problem. I mean, it's either hard or trivial. It's hard to do automatically, I think. Although maybe you can. Can you just enumerate all the features the users have installed? That turns into a list of bundles, and you actually can just. But they could also type feature install at the command line. Is there some?
So what you would want to have is some kind of service that's going to persist down into getC on some property file saying,
Okay.
this is a good system with all my features and bundles and things. This is what it looks like. And then you're just going to say, does what I have running right now
Now match that. Match this known good property.
basically what you're going to want to do.
And so anyway, so I think we're actually pretty much out of time, but I don't think this is hard. I just think we need to do it. And it's been killing us for 5 releases. I mean, honest to God, this has been a complaint every single release that we don't know if we're up or not.
Chat, this would have been done long ago. It's why I keep asking everyone, send a Jira, it's our way, we're waiting.
I mean, well, no, it's more complicated than that, right? We have to do some work. We have to do a bunch of work on our end too. Right? It's not. I don't think this is hard. You just have to have the will. We need to do it. But I think it's cost us enough time that we need to actually do it.
Figure out how you're gonna do it. I think doing is, now, you said a bit, right? So if there's a bit, there is a field though, when you do the LA, list all the bundles. If Blueprint will modify that status, right? Can we modify that status?
Right now, we're getting it from the OSHA context itself. We're not user modifying the app. It's not actually updating it. We're getting it from the OSHA creator.
how does the, I have to go back and look at the blueprint code. Do they send an event or something?
Well, what you're reading in the LS, that's actually just coming out the MD itself. So it's not that we're listening for an event for maybe a point object access for grabbing it.
Blueprint. Blueprint's updated now, because it'll say failed.
Yes.
If it failed. Blueprint is updated.
Yeah, it's.
So we should be able to update that too, right?
But we're sending that attack into the override service. It's not sending it to our command or to the graph itself. It's doing it underneath the hood of the override container. So it's not, we're not the one receiving it. It's inside of Felix or inside of Equinox and that's going on. We're just reporting what it's saying.
So.
All right, well, anyway, sorry.
No. So I mean, so I think we need to do some follow up here. I mean, it seems like we have a whole bunch of like bespoke, custom ways of telling if things are up. We ought to standardize on internally what up means, and then we need some other way, just a best practice of figuring out how to list what we expect to come up, so that way we can actually have a reasonable question of like, is the controller as up as I'm expecting it to be? So that way we can. Because, I mean, like, the number of tests, I mean, and Luis will tell you this, how many tests in OpenDaylight are flaky because, like, we don't know if the controller is up or not?
Yeah, not like many of them, but...
The thing I want to talk about today was sort of, as far as I can tell, there are no applications in OpenDaylight written to shut down. It's just not something, I mean, and that's maybe fine. But in the long run, you probably do want graceful shutdown. If for no other reason than if you want to like get the controller in a consistent state to take like backups or do an upgrade or things like that. So those are the two things I wanted to talk about, and I guess I can go through that. But so how do we know when the controller is up? So anyway, so I don't know about this. So this is one thing, and apparently I guess we just need to have somebody actually explain how it is that we're supposed to do graceful shutdown in OSGI, because we just haven't. And I don't know, I mean, so far it works, right? I mean, like, why would you want to shut it down? That's sort of the, so this, I think that part is more, I mean, I don't know. Does anybody, I mean, so you've done it. Has anybody else done graceful shutdown in OSGI? Okay. Because, okay, I haven't. I have no idea how it works. I mean, I know the concept. I just don't know, like, what I mean, like class destructors are actually hard to write. Like, you have to understand exactly what you need to clean up. Like, and basically, can we get graceful shutdown? So how many people know that there is, and I guess I don't know, is this true in the blueprint stuff? In the config subsystem, there was a shutdown command, right? Is there one in the blueprint? Where's Tom? I need Tom P. Yeah. So how many people have written a shutdown method in anything they've written in OpenDaylight? It's not me. So this is what I was talking about. So okay. Basically, we just need to ask. There are two related issues that I wanted to cover sort of in this session, and I actually am not the expert on these. I just know that they suck. One of them is that we have no way to tell when the controller is up. Like, we just don't. And everybody wants that. and so like literally like ways of telling it's up are like wait until the CPU utilization drops below 20%. That's actually been the most reliable one for me. But there's sort of a bunch of stupid things there. And the second one that I would want to talk about was people that do it. Yeah. And I mean, how do you test it? What's a good shutdown method? How do you know if it's right or wrong? Are we terrifying you right now? There's anything like anyway like